invite you to hear from Mr. Theophilus Wait, the Director of Operations at Lichess. He'll be sharing the inspiring story behind Lichess and its mission to make chess accessible to everyone. 早安，大家好，我们很高兴邀请到了国际象棋线上品牌 Lichess 的营运总监 Mr. Theophilus Wait， 在今天的早上到会场进行分享会，与各位朋友分享 Lichess 的企业故事。Mr. Wait, please.
Hello, thank you everyone for being here today and listening about Lichess. Just before we start, do many people here use Lichess or know what Lichess is? Yeah. So if we go to what is Lichess, do you know some of the stuff that Lichess does, some of the ideas behind Lichess, some of the philosophy? Do you play on Lichess?
Well, our kids do.
Okay, the kids do. So yeah, Lichess is basically a website where you have all of these features completely for free, as many of you surely know. You can play on Lichess, you can do puzzles, there are various tournament formats, you can do analysis, you can do training from your own games, downloading, uploading any PGNs, endgame table bases. So it's essentially a very wide chess website that basically provides absolutely everything you can imagine, and it's all completely for free. A very important part of the philosophy is not just that there are no adverts and no tracking on the website, also that all of the code is open source, so that anyone can learn from it and also become good programmers as well as good chess players. So to run such a website the size of Lichess, there's obviously some thoughts there. I mean, are there some estimations? Anyone has any thoughts on how big Lichess is at the moment?
Okay, of course I'll like.
Sorry?
Sure. Yeah. No, of course it's very big.
It's very big, yeah. So in terms of the size of Lichess, at our peak, we were actually ranked globally in the top 250 in the world. We've declined a little bit, as you can see. This is taken from yesterday. I'm not quite sure why it's also showing the US statistics, but it is apparently. So this is from a website, an aggregator called SimilarWeb, where basically they try to measure the traffic that websites receive. They normally do that through advertisements and tracking, and we don't have any advertisements and tracking. So if anything, these figures are actually probably lower than in reality, and I know from the total visits they estimate 70 million a month. I know that is not accurate. We get like roughly double that each month, because it also doesn't take into account the mobile app. So the scale of Lichess is pretty big. It's one of the larger websites in the world. And you can see here as well some of the countries where we get most of our audience, the top 5 being Russia, the US, Germany, India and Turkey. Turkey, of course, becoming a very dominant chess power with the youth of Erdoğan and Gürel. So we have over 20 million registered users. On top of that, there's another 90 million unique users who don't have accounts, who are like anonymous users. There's over 3 million games played every single day, 2,000 moves made a second, and we've become one of the largest open source projects on the world as well. So similar to like Wikipedia and stuff like that, I think we're around the 5th or 6th largest open source projects in the world. And yeah, we've been highlighted in global newspapers around the world. So we've had a global reach. This is from a BBC TV series that was recently on, which had David Howell in it as well. This is from Chessbase India, who I'm sure everyone here knows.
Yes.
Sagar Shah did an interview with myself and with Thibaut. We've got The Guardian down here, the English newspaper. That's another interview I did with Sagar Shah. This is from a statistics newspaper that really liked how we did some of our coverage on the World Championship match. And this is from an Indian newspaper about, of course, Gukesh's wonderful triumph as the most recent world champion in chess. So what would you think, if you have a website this size and scale, what sort of size of the team, would you imagine having? Because it's a very large impact at this point, which we've had. Sorry, could we switch to the next slide? Thank you, no worries. It's all right. So some people would think that it's probably a very large team of, potentially hundreds of people. If you look at chess.com, for example, Their team is roughly about 400 to 600 contractors, so it's really quite significant. And even in terms of Chessbase India at this point, you know, they're reaching into double digits. They're starting to get like 20, 30 team members. For us, we just have 3 full-time employees. I'm one of them, this guy's one of them. He's Thibaut, he's the founder of Lichess, he's the main developer. He's wearing a spaghetti colander on his head in this picture because he associates himself with something called pastafarianism, but we won't get into that. Those 3 full-time workers, which includes myself, Thibaut, and the mobile developer, Vincent, who's also French, they're supported by 25 part-time workers, and some of them are here from some interviews that we did. This is Luca, is our systems administrator. He basically makes sure all of the architecture of the website works and it stays up with the servers. This is a guy called Sam. He actually now works for Google, which is a shame, but whilst he was working with us, you know, he had a really, really big impact. And this is Mark, who's our community coordinator, originally from Lebanon, now living in Canada. And he's actually quite a strong chess player. He's like the strongest chess player on the team. Everyone else there, including myself, we're all really bad chess players. So yeah, we're supported by the 25 part-time as well. We have over 125 highly regular and active volunteers, as well as another roughly 3,000 occasional volunteers who drop in and just do stuff like translations, code contributions, stuff like that. So yeah, how did we get here? So Lichess began originally as Thibaut's hobby project, actually, back in 2010, and we can see a very, very early page of the website here. So this is literally how it looked in like 2010. And basically Thibaut just wanted to learn a new programming language called Scala, and to do that he decided to make a chess website, because a chess website has a lot of moving parts. You have 2 players, you have pieces that move, you have clocks, there's a lot of interesting challenges for learning a new coding language. So he developed a really simple chess website, and what he discovered, as I think we can maybe see in this picture, no, I don't think it's that one, but what he discovered is that some people started using the website. It was only like 40 people. Somehow they found this small little website that he made. So he put in a little chat box into the website, and people basically began giving him feedback and saying, this website sucks. Like, the rules of chess don't work, there's no en passant, you can't castle, you know, it just doesn't make sense. So he began implementing their feedback, basically, and developing the website. So a few years later, you can see by 2013, we've got this version of the website here, where there's like tournaments that have been, you can't really see at the bottom, but you know, the challenge is easier to see. You've got Lichess TV, and then a few years after that, we kept getting, you know, more feedback. We added variants, which you can see on the side here. There's like just more features and functionality, and then we've got pretty much the modern day version of the site here now. We also switched from light mode to dark mode in around 2021, just because, I don't know, dark mode's nicer. So that's kind of how that site evolved, and you know, a really big aspect, of course, I think we go to the next slide. Yeah, it was in 2016 when we became a official charity. So this is our French documentation, because we're a French charity, showing that we were a funded donation and association, which is the French firm for charity, with the objective to promote and strengthen the play and practice of chess and its variants. So that was a really big moment for us when we officially became a French charity. But then the next biggest bump after that is here, which actually shows the pandemic. So this is the number of average users we had before the pandemic, and you can see immediately the massive jump that we had in users during the pandemic. And then this second little shift that we have here, that's the Queen's Gambit. So, so you can immediately see the big jump that we had, where our average users who were online went from around peaks of around 40,000 to peaks of around 80,000. And then when the Queen's Gambit came out, that's peaks of about 100,000. So that growth has stayed with us, and even now at the moment, like at our peaks, we still have around 105,000 users online, usually in European evenings, which is our peak hours. And this really kind of took us to the next level. Like when we began getting this many users, when we began having like this much reach, we had to kind of become a little bit more serious about how we took chess. It was no longer a hobby project. It was no longer a small charity pulling in, maybe $3,000 a month in donations. At this point, we were starting to pull in maybe like $50,000, $60,000 a month in donations from the growth. So that allowed us to become much more ambitious and try new things. So if we go to the next slide, yeah, this also shows the change in developers. So it shows a 3-month average of the contributions that developers make to the website. And again, you can see a really big peak here in the pandemic, or just after the pandemic and around then, when there was a massive spike in developer contributions, which again, really helped us take it to the next level in terms of the chess. And then I think the next one will show, it's just our games database. We're just, this month I think we'll hit 7 billion standard rated games played on Lichess. You can see we roughly get around 90 to 100 million a month for the last few years. And then I think the next one will probably show broadcasts. So broadcasts, of course, I was going to use this television, but you've probably been looking at it whilst you've been in here the other day, seeing how the players are playing in the hall. We take tournaments from all over the world, and we show them to the public so people can see how the players are doing. And again, it just shows the kind of massive spike. Actually, quite a small spike during the pandemic, but over time it's increasingly grown as chess tournaments around the world. There are more of them, and we take broadcasts very seriously, especially after Chess 24 was shut down, and there's no real good alternative for some time to see tournaments around the world. So I think if we go to the next slide, oh yeah, this is just me doing some stuff. This is another part that I've been very lucky to do in the last few years, which is essentially like outreach and kind of networking. There are probably maybe some people here that you might recognize, Sagar Shah and his wife Amruta, of course, Eric Aisi, got Vidya here, got SL Nadian. This is when India won the Olympiad. Nadir Bekaktasatorov, Sami Reina, this is the president of the Asian Chess Federation, His Highness Sheikh Sultan. And this is the president of the Arab Chess Federation, His Highness Sheikh Al-Qasimi. We signed a memorandum of association with them, memorandum of understanding with them earlier this year. And then I think there's just a few other pictures of where I've gone around the world after this one. If we go to the next slide, that's with Magnus Carlsen, of course, Tan Zhongyi, Zhu Wenjun, who I interviewed. And I had a very mysterious occasion where, because of my general voice and accent, a tournament in Kazakhstan invited me to be a host to present, and that was a little bit surreal. But I became like a master of ceremonies in Kazakhstan just because of how I speak. And then I think on the next slide is the last one of random pictures of new people. Vishy Anand, this is Norway Chess. That was back when Koryakin was not cancelled. You've got Richard Rapport, Aryan Tadi over there, David Howe, Jovanka Huska, Irene Sukanda, a very strong Indonesian player. And this is Demis Hassabis, who's the founder of Google DeepMind, a big AI company. So it's great to meet him, and that's with the French national team. Don't know if I can actually remember all of the names, but you've got Bacro, Ferrugia, Moussard, Lagarde, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, etc. So so that was a great part of the job as well, and it's been fantastic to be an ambassador and meet these people. But if you go to the next slide, ultimately Lichess is a charity, so even though that's like the more glamorous side of what I've been very lucky to do, there's also some stuff that we need to do which is exceedingly important as well. So on the next slide we've got some other pictures, and this is some of the stuff that I think we have most impact with. Sagar Shah from ChessBase India has been volunteering in this orphanage in Mumbai, and the kids there basically really loved chess, and they were really into it. He taught them how to play. Some of them became very strong very quickly. You can see that this guy, well, it's quite small so maybe you can't see, but he's doing puzzles there, and it's a 2100 rating, and he literally only learned chess like a couple of months before that, and he's only been playing with other kids in the orphanage. But a user basically donated equipment to this orphanage so that they could play with anyone online around the world. It wasn't just the kids playing against each other. Now they play on Lichess and do puzzles on Lichess. This is, I think, a school in, I think, the US, where I think it normally serves kind of underprivileged communities, teaches them how to use chess, and again, they're using Lichess features there to learn. This is another chess school, I think, in Armenia, and this is just an example of like some coaching and how Lichess is used in coaching and training because our tools are free and accessible. This is another thing that we're pretty proud of. We, through our online tournaments, got to a position where this very strong IM, Madi Galami Orimi, qualified to an over-the-board event, which allowed him to get his final Grandmaster norm. And he wouldn't have been able to have done that if he hadn't won the online event, because through that he got online conditions, his flights were paid, his accommodation was paid for, he got guaranteed money even if he didn't win anything. But then he went there and he did very well and got his final Grandmaster norm. So that was quite a cool moment for us. And this was another cool moment as well. We also had online qualifiers for the Fischer Random World Championships back in 2022. And through our online qualifiers, Hikaru Nakamura and Nodirbek Abdusatorov qualified through to them. And Hikaru, of course, went on to win it. And it's, I think, the only World Championship title Hikaru's ever won. And the reason he got that was because he qualified through Lichess, which was quite cool. This is just, of course, showing broadcasts. You might even recognize some of these names. It might be family members, I'm not sure. This is from the open section, the 2300s from this Asian Amateurs event. You know, it's another thing that we do. We try to broadcast as many tournaments around the world as possible so people can see them, can be access to chess. And yeah, it's one of the things that we really try to work on and develop. And in addition to that, of course, we have like all of our kind of coaching tools, which I think is on the next slide. You know, you've got puzzles where you can do themes. You've got the puzzle dashboard, which, you know, tells you where you need to improve. That's actually my puzzle dashboard. I don't do puzzles very often. And then we have these studies as well, which you can go into, and we provide free, annotated, high-quality games. So this is from the World Championship. We had Navarra doing annotations, we had Lagarde doing annotations, and Gazzoli, another French Grandmaster, doing annotations. And actually I was speaking to a coach just earlier before this talk, and he was saying to me about how the puzzle themes are very useful for coaching. And also, he kind of anecdotally said as well that the fact that Lichess is free and accessible, it means a lot of people who would need to pay to play chess no longer need to do that. You know, it opens up the field much more. And that's also something I've heard from other places. There's like a lot of goodwill from a lot of grandmasters, especially some of the grandmasters from Central Asia and India, who basically say that when they were kids and, you know, their family didn't have much money, it was through Lichess puzzles and through playing on Lichess that they were able to really improve. So that's a really heartwarming impact that, you know, there are top 10 players in the world now who use Lichess to improve. It really kind of inspires us. So yeah, the future for Lichess and chess, where do we go from here? So chess has been quite a interesting place to be in the last few years. There's been some kind of monopolization generally within the chess market. We've lost Chess24. The Play Magnus group has disappeared generally. You know, it's moving to a kind of future of general consolidation. And as well as that, there's a lot of pressure in terms of things like esports. Of course, we just had the Esports World Cup. There's also been freestyle, which originally tried a classical format and moved more into faster time controls. So it seems that there's a lot of pressure for chess to move into faster time controls and to be more of a kind of online esport kind of activity rather than OTB. And I don't know if that's like the best future for chess personally, so I think we're going to try and basically continue strengthening OTB and doing the best that we can to support tournaments and OTB play. In terms of Lichess, I think we want to continue going from strength to strength. We want to focus a lot more on educational software. We want to focus on just getting more accessibility within chess overall. We have over 1,000 schools that use Lichess and its software for its students. You know, I'd like to see that like quadruple like next year. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff that we need to do and a lot of accessibility. There's a lot of interesting emerging markets in chess. Turkey, of course, is a big one with the kind of chess boom that's starting to happen there. India, of course, is absolutely huge and it's only going to grow more. I think there's very interesting aspects in Latin America and Nigeria as well, actually, which have gone quite understated. So I'd like to try and focus on those markets as well, which will just continue to grow and strengthen. I think that's everything I can think of off the top of my head. So, you know, if anyone has any questions or anything they want to ask, I'm more than happy to, you know, answer anything.
大家如果有问题的话，可以问 Mr. Wait。
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm Sonu from South Korea. I also work at the chess academy, and we use a lot of Lichess, and then from the basic and to analyze a lot of games. Personally, I really like the studies part. And just a little thing, the question I wonder when I'm using Lichess, like when I use the opening and then there's a lot of games, I wonder why there are not a lot of classic games. Like back then, like 20s or 90s.
Yeah. So it's in kind of the opening games database, right? Why the opening games database is mainly more modern games. Yeah. That's, I think, probably, do you know Twic? The Week in Chess? Twic, yeah, The Week in Chess. It's like an online site where basically this guy has maintained tournaments every month for like the last 30 years, like going back to like 1994. I think probably a lot of the games come from Twic, and before 1994 there was not a standardized version of PGN, so it's very difficult to get like full versions of tournaments. So we have actually been like trying to talk with some entities which provide those games databases that come from before the 90s, but the issue is a very niche and technical part of like intellectual property law, where single games cannot be copyrighted because they're facts, but if you have like a collection of games, like a database, that is protected under the rights of the creator, the person who put them all together. And a lot of these websites or people trying to say we have all of these games from before the 90s, they can't actually prove how they got the games. So we can't be confident that they actually own the collections. So that's kind of been a bit of a big headache, to be honest. It's very difficult to figure out who actually has like the kind of first entity who collected those games together. So that's probably why we don't have many games from the kind of 90s and 2000s. Yeah. I hope that answered it.
First of all, Theophilus, thank you for the Lichess Story. And in general, thank you for making an impact to the nations through the Lichess. I just came across Lichess this June because my son got serious with chess last June. So we hope we can invite it to the Philippines. Have you been to the Philippines?
Never been to the Philippines, not yet.
And there's a lot of chess players in the Philippines who really love chess and practically use Lichess because it's free. And congratulations for new contributors and donors for your foundation. And it was really an impactful website. So we hope we get to know you more. You can visit the Philippines and we can have more audience.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm not a chess player. All I've learned of chess.com is through my son. So according to him, the analysis, don't take offense, okay? The analysis is better at chess.com, probably because it's a paid site. If you take the paid version, then the analysis is better on chess.com than it is on lichess.com. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know, of course, fully what chess.com's parameters are. So with chess engines, the big thing is depth. how deep the engine looks down the tree of moves that are possible. I know that our depth is about 40 when you do an actual proper game analysis. That's another complication. There are two ways of doing analysis. You can just do it in your browser, where the compute power is taken from your browser, and that's quite a weak analysis. You're going to struggle to get beyond 20 depth. But if you actually click a proper game review on both chess.com or Lichess, it goes to a server, which will then do the analysis down to a deeper depth. I know for a while we were using Stockfish 17.1 NU, which is a particularly advanced form of Stockfish, which had a neural net as it, and it was a far better way of calculating possible chess moves. I know that we had that for a long time and chess.com didn't, so in theory our engine was stronger. I think by now they've put in Stockfish 17.1 NU, but yeah, it's difficult to tell without knowing the parameters of the depth and the exact servers that they're using. But there have been occasions where I've been watching broadcasts on Lichess, like tournaments, and the depth on Lichess has been so deep that it actually has been more than a supercomputer which looks at the games of Magnus Carlsen. We had depth of like 69 moves at some point, and this supercomputer had like a depth of 67. So yeah, that was quite a cool moment as well. Yeah. So.
So there's no truth to it, but chess.com does it.
I don't know enough about the parameters of how chess.com do it, because like if they have stronger servers or they go to deeper depth, then maybe, but I don't know enough about what they do behind the scenes, to be honest. I'd probably say for most chess players it doesn't really make a difference. If a depth of like 25, 30 is going to be enough for like nearly every situation. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So first of all, as we just discussed, like Lichess is a great site, and I told you how Lichess is making a difference in India and all over the world. And as a coach, I know like how easy and effective, like just click a link and just pass it to, and also in form of assigning works and all, just pass a link, just create a study. Compared to other sites, it's more effective. That's why I generally recommend Lichess only too. But just as you said, like it's completely like non-profitable organization. So as we know, like chess.com is trying to purchase all the company one by one. Like we saw Chess24, then Play Magnus. How about how Lichess is dealing with? Of course, you guys might have get some offer from there. Like, of course, they just want to be the single company. So how you're dealing with the pressure? One side, that's a big giant company. Like, of course, they're completely a profitable company, right? So they just were working for profit and all. So how you guys are dealing with it?
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, thank you for the kind words first of all, and like, yeah, absolutely, it's a real
Thank you.
Big change in the chess ecosystem. You know, as you say, there used to be a kind of triad of chess entities and chess companies. There was, Lichess, there was Chess24, and there was Chess.com. Chess.com purchased Chess24, for those who don't know, and then basically removed the site. It no longer really exists in any kind of real function. And that did put a lot of pressure onto, I think, the chess ecosystem as a whole. It's increasingly moving towards monopolization, as you say. They also did the same, I think, like ChessBomb many years ago, and ChessBomb is no longer as good. I think Follow Chess, they might have done the same. They had New in Chess, but then they divested it. So there's definitely a lot of pressure there from like the kind of monopolization side. But ultimately, we've never really actually seen Chess.com as a competitor. So they definitely see us as a competitor, because you can only play on one site and your eyeballs can only be in one place. So I think there's an element of them viewing us as opportunity cost, but we don't view them as as opportunity cost at all. If we can make an impact and we're still able to do that, that's ultimately the main thing. Lichess being free and open source, it can't be bought. If anyone did buy it, like, someone would just create a free clone of Lichess the next day because all of the code is out there. So it's completely protected from that perspective. And I mean, Lichess would never sell anyway because it's a charity. So the trustees would need to agree to it. The the people, the beneficiaries that we have would need to agree to it, and they never would. I never would either. So all we can do is just continue, trying to do our best at serving the chess community, and ultimately going, I think, for a different demographic to chess.com. They're going for a lot more of the kind of casual audience at the moment, a lot more of the kind of beginners, and we're much more interested in supporting OTB chess and getting players who are really hoping to kind of get a deeper understanding of chess rather than viewing it as a form of entertainment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wait, for your insightful words. I'm sure we've all learned a lot more about chess and Lichess. 谢谢 Mr. Wait 的分享。我相信我们都在这次的分享会里面学到更多有关象棋还有 Lichess 的故事。Thank you all for participating.
As long as it's good, thanks.
So, these some chess rules that maybe Lichess didn't add to the thing, and one of them is for example, if you have insufficient material to checkmate, and for example, let's say black has no pieces that can checkmate, and white has some pieces, but white lost on time, and then I'm not sure, but maybe it's a draw.
I think it's a draw in that situation.
And then once I lost on a blitz game, my opponent had more pieces, and I had a few pieces, and I ran out of time, and then I lost the game.
Do you remember what pieces you had?
Not sure, bishop and rook or something.
Oh yeah, that should be winnable, yeah.
Or a pawn and 2 pawns, 1 bishop.
Yeah, pawns would definitely be winnable because they have the opportunity to promote, right? So then they can become a queen.
And my opponent had no pieces.
Yeah.
But then I lost some time. And I just wonder, if in a view position, if that would be a draw or if that would be a loss.
So it depends where you're playing, actually. So there are different rules in different places. If I remember correctly, Lichess uses the FIDE rules when it's to do with insufficient material in the endgame. And we sometimes get this, right? As you said, you might have a player that has a pawn and a king. Oops, knock his head. You have a player that has a pawn and a king, and you have another player just with a king, and you get the same situation, right, where someone runs out of time and it doesn't work out as they should. But I think we follow the FIDE rules. But if you look at USCF rules, for example, their rules on insufficient material are different, and that's why there are some positions on Lichess which are a draw, which are a loss on chess.com because they follow USCF rules and we follow FIDE rules. But it would be good to see the games, and then we can work out why the result happened.
Do you know your the high score on store?
The highest score, highest rating?
The high score on store in chess, puzzle store.
I don't. I think it was in the hundreds though. I think we did a social media post about it a couple of years ago. I think it might have been Andrew Tang, the Grandmaster. I think he got 124, 131, something like that. Yeah, he did really well.
I got high score is 33.
I think that's probably higher than mine, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Wait again. Thank you for all your participation in the sharing. We wish you all the best in your upcoming tournaments. 谢谢各位对今次分享会的参与，希望你们还有你的家人还有朋友们都能在这次的比赛中获得佳绩。谢谢。Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.